Okay, so I have made my seam on my sewing machine all the way around to the edge, and then I made another seam from this edge to here, back stitch, skipped over this part, put the needle back in right here, back stitch, and went all the way to the end. Okay, so we have an opening right here. So the whole mask is sewn inside out, and there's an opening here. But before we turn it out, we have some trimming to do with our scissors. So I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to trim here. And I'm going to trim there. Now I'm going to have to put the phone down for this. So I need to trim around this hump here to get rid of this bulk. So this is called grading the seam. So I'm just going to go in. Now sometimes people will cut only on one flap. I'm just going to cut through both flaps. No big deal. Make sure when you do this step you're not getting close to your seam that you sewed, or else you'll ruin the entire thing. So be very careful not to get close to that. Sorry. Okay, so now the distance between the seam and the edge is rather small. Now I can turn it right side out. So I go all the way to the flap and I push it out, push my fingers in the holes, make them nice and pointy. And put your finger in those holes. So it doesn't look like a mask yet because we have to flatten it out. So just have to flatten it out as best we can. Make sure at the bottom where the opening is, this goes inward and none of the edges are sticking out. So I usually just kind of roll it with my finger a little bit to get it inward. And I roll the other edge with my finger. And then as soon as it's in, kind of roll that seam back and forth. And roll that. I'm sorry, I know you can't really see. Let me back up a little bit. There. You got. So I'm basically just folding in these two flaps and making sure that the seam edge is nice and even. Like so. And now this is going to be hard to do without Okay, so now we have a mask. It's almost done. So this is the front. It doesn't really matter what you pick as the front or the inside. It could actually flip the other way, and that could be the inside. It doesn't really matter. But the next step is to cut some elastic, sew it together. You put the elastic through here, fold over, and then you stitch down, so you'll have the elastic out here. And then you do it here as well. And then you'll have a complete mask. So I literally only have one step left. Okay, this is my elastic.
You took your mom, the freshman dance lesson.
For an adult female,
So,
I
what
cut
led you crawling back to the Society of Space?
7
Whoa.
1/4 inch. So I measure from here
I was voted out of the society.
and I pull it all the way to 7 1/4.
Was I wrong? People, was I
Cut
wrong?
right there. Doesn't have to be precise, but it does need to be at least 7 1/4, and they both need to be the same size. So what I do is I put one on top of the other.
Listen, Artie, we have a common enemy here, and we need to work together.
Just make sure one's on top of the other. And then I make sure I cut the other one the exact same size as the first. There we go. And so I have 2 pieces, 7 1/4. And now I'm going to put it on the machine and overlap it just a tad, like a 1/4 inch overlap, and that's it. This is going to go in the sewing machine like this. Sorry, you can't see that, and I can't do it with one hand. But basically, this needs to overlap straight, not at an angle. And you just sew these 2 layers together. So it's going to go under the needle. You're going to drop the presser foot. You're going to start in the middle. You're going to sew backwards and then forward. And then you'll have your loop. And I'll be back when I have both my. Okay, so I just sewed both of these loops, these 7 1/4 inch pieces together. I overlapped them just a little bit, and I sewed straight across. So just a little bit of overlap there, not a lot. And now these are going to go in the end pieces of the mask. Actually, I skipped a step. Before we can add these loops to the mask, we have to do a top stitch all the way around the mask, all the way around, just along the edge. And what this does is it secures it a little better, keeps it from rolling when you wash it, and it also closes up this opening here. So I'm going to go and do this top stitching. And then when the top stitching is done, basically what we do is we take this loop here, we put it right through the edge here, and then we fold it over. There. And then you're going to put a stitch from the beginning. Oops, it doesn't look right. All right, you want this stitched part to be on the inside of the fold, not the outside. You don't want that visible. Okay, so it's gonna go like this. You're gonna fold it about this far. And you're gonna put it back under the machine. And you're gonna stitch from here, back stitch, all the way across to here, back stitch. You're just going to make sure it's straight though. You don't want it angled like that. You want it to be straight. And you're going to do that on both ends of this mask. And then your mask will be completely done. And the thing I like about this pattern is when you have flaps like this, if the person thinks it's too loose, then you just use your seam ripper. You rip it open, you rip those stitches off, and then you fold it a little deeper. When you fold it deeper, that effectively makes the mask a little tighter. And it takes some of the, you know, the loose fabric that may be by their ears, and it kind of cinches that up a little bit. And these are 7 1/4, so they're the perfect length to go around your ear, and they don't pull. And this is like super soft elastic. It's really, really soft. I put it on with this soft side around the ear, not this side. This side, even though it looks sparkly, it's not quite as soft as this edge. Anyway, I will do that and be right back. Okay guys, so I just got through adding in the loops and I'm done sewing it completely. Only problem is I completely forgot to get the white loops, and I don't know what I was thinking. These loops are not for this fabric. These loops are for that fabric. See? So now I have to take the seam ripper and I'm going to rip that seam out, take this loop out, and put white loops in there instead. So anyway, what do y'all think? It literally took me about 15 minutes to make this mask. And it fits perfectly. It tucks just a little, but it doesn't tuck as much as one of my other masks do. It doesn't tuck, like literally tuck under the chin. It just kind of goes over the edge of your chin, but it's still open enough to where you can kind of breathe. Anyway, I just was feeling bored and I thought I'd share with you guys how I sew. If you want the pattern, let me know and I can email it to you, and then you can just watch my video.